English Practice Podcasts from EnglishSpanishLink.com. Hello, and this is Dr. Mike, and today I'm going to talk to you about the present perfect with completed actions. Yes, the present perfect. We've started. The podcast has started. It's started. We've begun. Here we go. We have started. The podcast has started. That's auxiliary have or has, and then the past participle started, begun. Do you remember at school? Do you remember the verb tables? Do, did, done. Begin, began, begun. The infinitive, begin. The past simple, began. And the last of the three verb forms, the past participle, begun. That's the one we use in present perfect. Here is a word to understand for this podcast. Tense. That's spelt T-E-N-S-E. Tense. Tense means time. In grammar, we usually talk about 3 times or tenses. The present tense, now. The past tense, yesterday. And the future tense, tomorrow. Now, a lot of students of English have problems with the present perfect. And if you have to do an English exam or an English test, you will probably get an exercise that asks you to choose the correct tense, past simple or present perfect. Past simple or present perfect. There can be confusion with past simple and present perfect because they both can talk about things that happened in the past. When my students finish an exercise in the class, they all call out, "Teacher, I finished! I finished!" I have finished. I've finished. This is a completed action, a finished action in the past. But we use present perfect. Why? Well, listen closely. Here is a secret about present perfect. Are you ready?
We're ready.
We're ready.
The secret of present perfect.
Present perfect is a present tense.
That's not a secret.
What's the problem? What's the matter? This is a very important thing to know. Present perfect can talk about the past, but it's always a present tense. Let's listen to a conversation. Can you hear the sentences in present perfect? Listen carefully.
Seven 13489. This is Mary speaking.
Hello, Mary. This is Timothy.
Timothy? Timothy who?
Timothy Pilkington. You know, we met at Fiona's birthday party.
Oh, yes. I remember. That Timothy.
Yes. How are you?
I'm very busy, actually.
Ah, I see. That's nice. Well, perhaps you'd like to come with me to the cinema on Friday evening.
Actually...
There's a very good film on. Peter Rabbit.
Peter Rabbit? I see. Look, Timothy, I've seen that film.
Oh, what a pity. Well, would you like to come to Zorba's restaurant with me on Saturday evening? They do very good Greek food.
Well, actually, Timothy, I've had stomach problems recently.
Oh, what a shame. Well, would you like to come bowling with me on Sunday morning?
Sorry, Timothy, I can't. I've broken my arm.
You've broken your arm? Oh dear, how awful. Well, perhaps...
Ow! I must put the phone down now. My arm hurts. Ow! Ow! Goodbye, Timothy.
Poor Timothy. Perhaps he should look for another girl. Well, did you hear the present perfect sentences? First, Mary said, "I've seen that film." Then she said, "I've had stomach problems recently." Your stomach is where your food goes when you eat. Stomach problems. Then, finally, she said, "I've broken my arm." And Timothy repeats the sentence. "You've broken your arm?" Was Mary telling the truth? I don't think so. Now, all those present perfect sentences that Mary said talk about completed actions in the past. She's seen that film. She's had stomach problems. She's broken her arm. But it's interesting that Mary does not say, "No, I don't want to go to the cinema. I don't want to go to the restaurant. I don't want to go bowling." Do you understand bowling? Bowling. But Timothy understands that she does not want to go. He understands because when we talk in present perfect, we are saying something in the present. We are thinking about the present. When Mary says, "I've seen that film," she means, "I don't want to see that film again." When Mary says, "I've had stomach problems recently," she means, "I don't feel like eating now." When Mary says, "I've broken my arm," she means, "I cannot pick up or throw a bowling ball." This is why we use present perfect to tell people our news. That is, interesting things that happen to us. News. News is a completed action, but it is important to us now in the present. Here are some examples of news. "I've passed my driving test." He means, I can drive now. "I've lost my dog." He means he can't find his dog. "I've bought a new mobile phone." He means this mobile phone is better than the old one. Now, it is important to remember that if we talk about when something happened in the past, when something happened, we must use past tense. So if we say 2 minutes ago, yesterday, last week, last Monday, when I was a little boy, we must use past tense. This means that when we tell our news in present perfect, usually the rest of the conversation will be in past tense. It's in past tense because people ask us when, where, why, how did it happen. Now we are thinking about the past. So let's imagine Mary did break her arm.
Ow! Ow!
Listen to this conversation between Mary and Timothy. Listen how the news is in present perfect, and then they talk in past tense because they are saying when things happened. They are thinking about the past. They use the past tense of the verbs and questions with did.
"Well, would you like to come bowling with me on Sunday morning?"
Sorry, Timothy. I can't. I've broken my arm.
"You've broken your arm? Oh dear, how awful! How did it happen?"
I fell off my horse.
"When did you fall off your horse?"
Last Saturday.
"Did it hurt a lot?"
Oh, yes. I went to hospital. It was terrible. I cried a lot.
Oh dear, poor you. Well, actually, I'm a doctor. Shall I come to your house and look at your arm?
Well, Timothy, I think it's a lot better. In fact, it doesn't really hurt at all now.
So now I hope you understand that when we use present perfect, there is a message, an implicit message that we want to tell people. And that message is in the present. At the beginning of this podcast, I said, "We've started. The podcast has started." I said that because I wanted you to listen to what I was going to say. I meant, please listen to me now. Now, I'm going to say, we finished. The podcast has finished. This means it is the end. And I can now go and have my lunch. Test time. Here are the present tense meanings you heard in this podcast. Listen to these present tense meanings and say the present perfect sentence. I don't want to see that film again. I've seen that film. I don't feel like eating. I've had stomach problems recently. I cannot pick up or throw a bowling ball. I've broken my arm. I can drive now. I've passed my driving test. I can't find my dog. I've lost my dog. This mobile phone is better than the old one. I've bought a new mobile phone. If you'd like to see the transcript of this podcast and other activities and exercises for learning English, you can visit my website at EnglishSpanishLink.com. Music was from bensound.com. That's all from Dr. Mike. Until next time.